Greetings, everyone. This is Payment Lorenzo, your friend, your host, your coach. Today, we are kicking off day 5 of the podcast launch challenge for the class of January 2025. This is for the US, Canada, and Australia class. We had a powerful talk last night for me for the UK folks, UK, Europe. So much that we're doing a second call with them later today. So, anyways, I'm excited. Let me straight get to it and start sharing my screen. Because today we have a big day. It's going to be a powerful day. I have a lot of goodies for you guys. Do you see my screen? Okay. So today we're going to talk about money. How to monetize your podcast the right way. And we're going to start looking at where does your ideal listener, prospect, and client hang out the most. Then I'm going to be sharing with you my proven blueprint to map out your first 10, 20, 100, 1,000 and beyond episodes and beyond. Then we're going to be looking at, well, it should be the other way around, leveraging your podcast for bigger opportunities. I'm going to share how podcasting has opened up the world for me, and it can do the same for you. And then, last but definitely not least, putting all together so that you can get leads on demand and clients organically to your very own podcast and YouTube channel. So, here's Sharon. Okay, perfect. Okay, so agenda. Oops, typo. Okay, anyways, same as usual. Gonna go straight to it. Before we start, any questions about day 4 or anything I've covered so far? I know I've covered a lot. So bring on your questions, please, before we move on. Once, twice, thrice, no questions? All right, let's move on then. You guys are amazing. Best students ever. Fast learners. We all are fast, we all are, what's the word here? Getting a blank here. Smart cookies. That's the word. Smart cookies. Okay, let's go. So
Payment, I do actually have a question.
yes.
When you talked on there for our assignment to do go onto Canva and do the thumbnail, is that for to do the cover for our podcast itself or just for the video?
Both. It can be for everything. Once you learn how to do it, the same principle, you just change the sizes, as I showed you on the top left of your screen on Canva. There's an option to resize, and then you can enter all the different dimensions. You can select for what it is, whether it's for YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and you just select it. It's for all. So I recommend you build your template. Once you have your template, for example, I showed you how I created my thumbnail for my YouTube videos. Once you created one, all you have to do is just change the title, the number of the episode, the picture of the person, add a title and subtitle. It should take you about 2 to 3 minutes, and off you go. So, and then of course you can use Canva for pretty much everything to create your cover art for your podcast, to create your Facebook banner, your YouTube banner, your Instagram, everything you want. Anything else, guys?
Thank you.
Very welcome. One last call. Anything else? Hello, Sharon. Thank you for being with us here today.
Sorry, I was playing pickleball.
Oh, now you're speaking my language. I fell in love with pickleball so much that for the past 2 months I've been playing every day. I had to take a day off because I was starting to get pain in my elbow and in my right bicep. They call it tennisman's elbow, you know? We need to play pickleball. I can't wait to play with you guys. Anyone else plays pickleball here?
Yeah, I'm playing pickleball.
Who? I heard someone. All right. We need to do a pickleball tournament. All right. Or even
America.
Oh, absolutely. Or a meet and greet pickleball. Social pickleball. That's how they call it here in Vietnam. Social pickleball. Okay, cool. Awesome. So today we're going to be looking at today's menu, as I mentioned earlier. I don't know if you saw it, Sharon. It's all about money, about making money. We're going to start looking at where does your ideal listeners, prospect, and client hang out the most. And I'm going to share with you my proven blueprint to map out your first 10, 20, 100, 1,000 and beyond episodes. And then sharing with you how you can leverage your podcast for bigger opportunities, how it the same way it's done for me, and finally putting it all together to it leads on demand and clients organically. And then I will have a very special invitation for you guys. All right, so we've done that. So today we're going to start with where does your ideal listeners, prospects, and client hang out the most? Whether it's online, offline, for example. So far we've done everything is very strategic. There's no guesswork required. It's all logical. So we've looked so far at the central point of everything, which is your zone of genius, and then that gave us clarity as to what is the number one pain point you're solving and addressing, and for who, very specific person. And the next logical step is where is that person hanging out the most? For me, so for most of us, going to be either on Facebook or LinkedIn. For me, for the first, I would say up until last summer, it was exclusively 95% on Facebook. Facebook groups, guys, are an absolute gold mine if done the right way. Of course, LinkedIn can be good as well, but you have it's a different ball game. So, what has been for you guys so far the platform and most of your not listeners, prospect and clients are hanging out the most? Let's hear it. Short, sweet, to the point. Is it Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram? What has it been? Let's hear it. I'm going to go from left to right on my screen. Lorna. All right. Let's go. Sharon.
I haven't engaged with social media at all. My clients have all come from referrals, so I haven't really leveraged it at all.
Okay.
So now I want to start, and I have built a following on LinkedIn only because I was the president of the ICF last year. So with that, I think that I would probably do LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Perfect. What is ICF?
International Coaching Federation.
Oh, wonderful. Amazing. Okay, cool. Thank you. Next, let's see. Who's here? Suzanne.
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry. I was trying to get my mic. My
No
phone's a little bit slow. I'm usually on Facebook, sometimes on YouTube. And well, that's probably mostly it. Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Let's see. Who's next on my list here? Michael.
Yeah, 1 second. We had an emergency with the cats.
Oh, wow.
Give me 1 second. They
Okay,
were
no worries.
fighting.
No worries. No worries. You want me
Yeah,
to
let me get my
come
let me get my camera
back
on.
to you? You want me to come back to you in a moment?
Yeah, come back to me in 1 moment.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks,
Medina.
brother.
No worries.
For me, it's Facebook.
Yes.
LinkedIn, I have found out that when it comes to a vulnerable topic, like admitting that I have weak moments in my life, LinkedIn it's still catching up with opening to this vulnerable part of the human psyche.
Yes.
So Facebook groups are more open to that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm telling you guys, do not sleep on Facebook. Facebook groups, when done the right way, are an absolute gold mine. For the first, up until last summer, I would say 90 to 95% of my clients have come from Facebook groups. And a big chunk of it, I would say a good 30 to 40% from the serving circle. For those of you that are in the serving circle, it's an absolute gold mine. People are amazing. They're all there to help. And when you go there with an intention to help, to serve, to make the other person win and shine, they will see that and they will be open to doing business. I mean, this is what any person would do, because at the end of it, it's all about sincerely helping the other person. And if you do that, they will want to work with you. Simple as that. Okay. Thank you. Michael.
Yeah, the question was where do I hang out or work at more?
Where does your ideal audience hang out the most so far?
Or where does the audience? Okay.
Yes.
It depends. It fluctuates. before it was Facebook, but when I took my sabbatical for like years, I just dropped everything.
Mm,
It started over and it's more like the same two, three viewers on the lives
okay.
because I haven't been around. So it's understandable, you know?
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Huh?
Thank you. Alice.
Okay. Well, with me, it's always been Facebook. And maybe that's only because I like it more
Mhm.
and it's easier for me to use. So people will see me there more. Instagram, maybe 50% of it, but the majority is Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing it. Lorna.
To be honest, Facebook is the only one. Well, I'm on LinkedIn as well, but not very active there. Facebook is the only one I've really used so far. But from people who know me and know of my work and who have worked with me, say that TikTok and Instagram are great places for me as well. So
I keep hearing TikToks. Maybe I need to get onto it as well. So yes, absolutely. Thank you guys. All right, let's move on. So let's now take a look at something that is really important, and that is your foundational 10-15 episode. I mentioned that, I believe, yesterday or the day before. What I highly recommend all my students is to have at least a minimum of 15, 20, or at the very bare minimum, at least 20 episodes recorded before you publish and launch your podcast. And there's a couple of main reasons for that. The first one is because, as I mentioned earlier, when you go out and reach out to people you don't know, cold people, so to speak, and invite them onto your podcast, that's human nature. The first thing they will do, they want to check out your podcast to see if you're for real, if you can be trusted, if they can trust you, and so on and so forth. If they see you have less than 5 episodes, not interested. But if they see you have 10, 15, 20, the more episodes you have, the more is going to send to them the right message. Hey, this person is committed, is serious. They know what they're talking about, and so on and so forth. The second reason is that it's going to basically be your on-the-job training. You're going to be learning how to identify the people you want to interview, invite them in, schedule them in, get them on the call, set up your computer and everything, recording, editing, uploading, promoting, and all that good stuff. So it's literally on-the-job training. And the best way to start, the very lowest hanging fruit, is simply to interview each other in this group. You have what, 6, 7 people? If you were to interview each other, right there, you will have 5, 6 episodes. And then simply reach out to people that you're currently working with, current clients, past clients, or even if you have no clients, just people that you know. Your goal is not to sell. Your goal is to never sell on a podcast. It's to simply have heart-to-heart conversation to get to know the person and for them to get to know you. Do that. And if you were to do that, honestly, it should not take you more than 2 weeks, at the most a month, to build that foundational 10, 15, ideally 20 episode before you go out to reach out to people you don't know, to call people, so to speak. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. Awesome. Very straightforward. So again, once you've done your 10, 15 episodes, it's the same process. You identify, it's a given that you by now we already know what is your zone of genius, what is the pain point you're solving, and for who. Then the next step is identifying where is that person hanging out and simply putting yourself in front of them and inviting them in. As simple as that. That's the same principle for every episode from now on. Because again, we only interview our prospects because we're building a podcast for a business. Yes, from time to time you can invite in, say, an expert to further add value to your audience, or you can invite back some of your current or past clients. This way you get 2 things out of them. One, you get an episode, but also you get a testimonial. That's the best way to get testimonial, by simply not by chasing them, but by simply inviting them in. Remember that powerful principle I shared with you numerous times. Never put yourself in a position to ask, beg, or chase. Instead, invite. That applies to everything, not just to business, even with the family, your kids, your relatives, your neighbors, your friends. Try it with everyone. Instead of asking, invite them and see the difference in the answers. Pretty straightforward. Let's move on. Now let's take a look at some of the exciting things that you may that may bless your life once you do have a podcast and get going. For example, of course, joint ventures, collaborations, getting onto bigger podcasts. A big one for me and for most people in here is going to be to realize one of their dreams, write a book, become a published author, or even more so, a number one international bestselling author. I've been blessed to have become 4-time number one international bestselling author with Mary. You guys met her yesterday. She's amazing. And of course, public speaking. I got this golden opportunity of a TED Talk literally fall on my lap last year. I was invited to do 2 talks for 2 local groups of entrepreneurs here in Da Nang in Vietnam. And the attendance was a student of the business university here. And she liked what I said. She told her professor's an American professor. We had a coffee. He liked my story, and then he invited me to do a TED Talk. And then the next question I asked him is so how much is going to be? Because I have people in my network who charge $10,000 to $20,000, not to give you a stage of a TED Talk, but to coach you, to prepare you to speak properly in front of a stage. So I knew that's going to be expensive. And when I asked him, so how much is it? And he said, oh, it's free. I said, what? I had to repeat twice. And I asked him, what's the next step? He said, oh, write a 1,000 word essay on what you're going to talk by May 31st. I swear to you guys, I've never written an essay so fast in my life. I banged it in 1 hour before the guy changed his mind. So again, that's how I got this opportunity because of podcasting. And now I've been also invited to be a keynote speaker in March at another major conference for entrepreneurs here. And of course, if you have any aspirations to do corporate training, to be invited as a keynote speaker, speak at conferences, events, then your podcast is the best way because when people host events, they're always actively looking for interesting, insightful speakers. And what do? They scour the internet. They look for podcasters. They look for YouTube channels, for referrals. I say, what do you think is a good channel with an expert on topic that we're going to cover in our conference? And the first place they start is on looking for podcasters and YouTube channels. And of course, TV, radio. That's one of the fastest way to get on TV and radio, especially if you leverage the power of press releases. So again, there's absolutely no limit what you can do because of this. The last question I ask all my guests on my podcast, and that's my favorite question to ask, and what's the smallest thing you've done that has had the deepest, most profound, positive impact in both your life and business? For me, without hesitation, it's been starting my podcast. That completely opened the world to me, got me back on my feet, changed, transformed, and saved my life. So again, podcasting when done the right way can open up the world for you. So here's my 4 books. First 2 books were all with Mary. All of them was me writing a chapter and 2 of her books. The first one was in March of 2022, followed by a second one in July of 2022. Then I did 2 books of my own with inviting people from my podcast, guests from my podcast to come share their story in my books. First one was released in September 22, and volume 2 was released exactly a year ago. And now I'm working on volume number 3, which is scheduled to launch in May of this year, and volume number 4 on my birthday on October 17. So again, there's so much you can do through a podcast. Do you guys see in your mind's eye what you can achieve with a podcast? It's absolutely mind-blowing that little thing like this can have such a big, massive impact. And why is that? It's because at the end of the day, it's all about having conversations. And the one thing I always tell you on the podcast, I never sell, I never pitch or try to convince. Instead, I'm having a conversation, heart-to-heart conversation. My main goal on the call is 2 things. 1, to help the person get clarity, help them in whatever way I can, and to build trust, build rapport. Because once you build that trust and rapport, it opens up the wall, makes doing business with them infinitely easier. So now, again, this is the link to my TED Talk. Feel free to watch it if you want. My keynote speaker for March. My talk is going to be on getting leads and clients, podcasting organically. So now let's do some projection. What about you? What are some of the objectives, dreams, and goals that you want to achieve and that you see yourself achieving through your own podcast in the next 6 to 12 months and beyond. Do not self-censor. Speak out loud. Imagine there's absolutely no limit as to what you can achieve. Let's hear it. 1 or 2 sentences, short to the sweet, from each one, starting from left to right. First one on my screen, Michael.
I have a mouthful. I'll pass on this one, and then when you come back,
Sure, no worries,
thanks.
no worries. But Lena,
Well, I have been writing a book for a couple of years, so I want to publish this book finally.
beautiful. Thank you. Anything else?
Well, everything what you put here is, let me tell you this, as I'm reflecting upon what drives me to wake up every morning, this is the fifth time in the row, at 1 a.m. my time. And it's, of course, the beautiful content of your work.
Thank you.
And yet connecting with, how did Mary said that, soul inspired and driven people, like everyone who is here.
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
Absolutely.
So building connections and relationships with like-minded people who are driven by the spirit of service is the most beautiful part of what we all do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Sharon.
I want to do a TED talk. I want my book to be, I want to do my book, finish my book. And I want to do keynote speak. And it's all about helping people to have the tools to up-level their life. So tangible tools and ways for them to change their mindset in order to help them up-level.
Beautiful. Speaking of TED Talk, all of you can and should look actively to do a TED Talk. It's an absolute transformational experience. Start looking into TED Talks, not in the major cities around you, but the smaller cities. Much easier to get into. Remember what I said the other day about press releases? Spending a couple of hours this weekend, look for email addresses of all the journalists in your area, especially the ones from the smaller outlets, smaller newspapers, smaller magazines, smaller radios, TV stations, and send them a press release. It's not rocket science. Go on Google, figure out how to write, to craft a press release, and just, in this case, yes, it's going to be a numbers game. All you need is just one to say yes. And then snowball that into others, and before you know it, you'll be all over the bigger outlets. And that's going to be one of the fastest ways for you to get into TED Talk, especially once you have the 3 key elements that are going to make you incredibly attractive for stages. Number 1, having your own podcast because you have a platform. Number 2, when you have your own book, because that elevates you to be seen as an expert, an authority, a leader. And number 3, hey, this is something I haven't mentioned, but it's one of my favorite, and that is make your business bigger than yourself. Not just about money, but about impact, about purpose, about helping. Be seen as a heart-centered, purpose-driven, impact-driven business, not just a profit-driven business. If you can do that, then you will be very sought after, very attractive for stages, the media. But start first with the smaller ones, the local papers, the local radio station, always starving to showcase, especially local people, having a big impact. Doesn't have to be a global impact. Even if you're having an impact locally, then there are media outlets, newspapers, TVs, radio stations, online magazines that are starving to showcase local people. Seriously, guys, take this advice. Spend this weekend, couple of hours. Look up 2 things. 1, how to craft a press release. I covered that extensively inside my academy. This is way beyond the scope of this, but it's not rocket science. Just go on YouTube and Google, and just craft a press release. And then look for the email addresses of all the journalists in your local area, not the big ones at the big national, international outlets, but the small local ones. Does that make sense? Does that inspire you guys to take action? It's not out of reach, guys. If little me, and I did, yes, I've been blessed. I didn't do any of that yet, but because I have an established podcast, that opened that to me. I haven't done a press release yet, but I'm gonna do that soon. But that's not all of you guys. You've been blessed with incredible gifts, wisdoms that now you need to first embrace them loud and proud, and then share them even louder and prouder around you and around the world. That's why we are here for. We are at the stage now to share our gifts. The last thing we can do with our gifts is to be greedy and stingy. No, that's the last thing. There's two things you cannot be greedy with. One is your gifts, and two, helping others and smiles, uplifting people. Anyways, but yeah, so have I forgotten anyone? Oh, Alice, did you share yours?
Not yet.
Okay, so tell us in a short way.
After listening, no,
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
kind of froze on me.
No,
Go
no.
ahead. Okay. Well, after listening to all of this, it seems like for the longest time, I just wanted to be able to share my story. Obviously for others, right? But then I just felt, as you were talking about being stingy and about not sharing. And a lot of my issues are personal, meaning I get very embarrassed. I don't feel sometimes that should share or in too much depth. So I would like to practice more. And I think the reason why the podcast for me would be more fun is because it's audio.
Yes.
And I can speak without being seen if, it's just me. And I know that's me. So that's something I'd be working on. So after listening to all the different platforms that you're listing and the different reasons why the TED Talk or everything mentioned, it's really like lit a fire saying, why do I do this to myself? I know better. So I think I would like to try a TED Talk and see how that would go.
Please do it. And one thing I would tell you, I watched a powerful video yesterday. I will share it with you guys if you want. It said, stop playing small, stop hiding, and I had this conversation the other day with Michael after the call. It was about exactly that. Do not be ashamed of your past. These are your gifts. Watch again, if you haven't, Alice, watch the video from day 3 where I talk about your zone of genius, your gifts. We all know that life is a school. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this because I'm really getting emotional here. Sure, we all need to learn, become better, wiser, and all that good stuff, but that's only 5% of what we are here for. The 95% is taking your gift and sharing them. What do I mean by gifts? We all go through our fair share of pain, trauma, abuse, tragedy, betrayal, heartbreak, disease, and all that. Sure, it's tremendously painful when you go to them. But then guess what? Those become your story. Then your story becomes your gifts. Then your gifts become your duty and responsibility to share them. And since I had my awakening, from my humble understanding, one of the main reasons we are here is to take our gifts, our lessons, and share them with others around us and around the world. I've had people that have lost it all, went to jail, had to reinvent themselves. Now they're extremely successful. And the first time they talked about being in jail was literally on my podcast, and they got very emotional. They felt like they had a heavy burden being removed off of their chest, of the shoulders. They said, wow, this is the greatest thing that happened to me. And then they really saw what that was for. That was a blessing in disguise. I've had people tell me that for them to be diagnosed with cancer was the greatest gift of their life. I mean, when you hear that, a normal person would say, are you out of your mind? Because most people think when you get that, it's almost like a death sentence. I had people that literally overcame not just terminal disease, but also people that overcame life-altering accidents, becoming paraplegic, becoming handicapped, becoming a vegetable, so to speak. And yet they're telling me that this was the greatest thing that happened in life. This is literally what saved my life. As you know, my story, I was in a very bad spot, almost suicidal. I didn't want to continue living because what's the point of suffering? And me listening to these people, and these people, all of them, telling me, hey, just because you're going through a temporary financial challenge, that's not a reason for you to give up. So, guys, do not be afraid or ashamed of your past, whatever it may be. One of the things that changed my life, and I talked about that on my TED Talk, so I highly recommend you watch it, is understanding the tremendous power of questions and asking the right question. The two questions that changed my life, the most powerful two questions in the world, for me, is looking at everything that happens in your life to the lens of these two questions. What is this trying to teach me? What is a lesson for me to learn to that? Because again, nothing happens to you but for you. And God never gives you anything that you cannot handle. So again, do not be afraid or ashamed of your past or whatever chapter. Embrace them. These are your greatest gift. This is what we did on day 3 about identifying your zone of genius. The more painful, the more heartbreaking the challenge that you overcame, guess what? The more impactful, purposeful, and incredibly profitable that will be for you. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, it
Guys,
makes
please,
sense.
it's time to stop playing small. I'll send you that video that I saw yesterday. Powerful talk. And one thing also, when I say podcast, I mean both audio and video. But for simplicity's sake, I use podcast. So don't be afraid. Don't play small. Do not limit yourselves. What was it, Suzanne or Alice? I think it was Alice. To just going on audio podcast. It's okay.
Yeah.
Stop being invisible. Now it's time for you to step up to become the person you're meant to be. One of my favorite saying is, and I tell that to everyone, whether they're my clients or everyone, is, you know, everybody's cheering for you, your friends, your family, but you know who's the most important people cheering for you, yet you don't see them? Your future clients. They're waiting for you to step up. They're waiting for you. Hey,
True.
come on, Michael. Come on, Medlina. Come on, Sharon. Come on, Lorna, Susan, Alice, Payment. We're waiting for you. We need you. Come on. These are the people that we cannot let down. So stop playing small, please. Stop hiding. Embrace your gifts. One of my favorite saying is, as I mentioned many times, your crap is your gold. Or in a more PC way, your mess is your message. But I'm raw, so I say your crap is your gold. So guys, please, I'm begging you, stop playing small. Now it's the time for you to step up. Remember, you can't let down your future clients. We cannot let them down. Maybe we don't see them in the 3D, but in the 5Ds, they're waiting for us. They're cheering for you every day. Does that make sense, guys? As everyone shared their goals, their dreams about what they want to achieve through podcasting.
I haven't yet. Well,
Okay, go ahead, Lorna. Sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. I would love to have my book of poetry and also my memoirs published. To public speaking, keynote speaking, do a TED Talk, teachers conferences, and TV and radio show.
Beautiful. Love that. If any of you guys, I'm thinking out loud, can come and stay between May to July and here in Da Nang, I can pretty much guarantee you a spot on TED Talk. Because the university that I went to that does a TED Talk, they do one a year, and they're going to start looking for speakers from the month of March, April, May. And they will assign you a public speaking coach. I asked them if I can do it again this year. They said, no, only once. So if you can commit to being in Vietnam for the next, 3 months from April, there's a 90% chance you can get a TED Talk here and for free, as opposed to paying tens of $1,000s back in the US or wherever. Hey, just think out loud. Maybe I'm being silly, but hey, don't self-censor yourself. Thank you, Lorna. Love those. Michael, go ahead.
Well, something like even what you said right now, Payment, it's really not about me, Michael. It's about, you know, the vision of why we were all born. And out of all times, this time, like
Yes.
ask yourself, no, I ask myself, out of all the births that I could have birthed, it's like I'm living the fairy tale. I'm living the fantasy. And it's like I want everybody to live this fantasy. And we see, according to like you said, the 3D, we see the world the way it appears to be, but we don't take responsibility of the fears that we're projecting. So the more we can help the world transform their fears, like you said, their mess into their message, we're going to transform the world. And we never know if we're speaking to the next Gandhi. So what is my dream? Is to speak to the next Gandhi, to speak to the next Christ, to speak to the next, and I don't mean to offend anybody who's religious. I mean the Christ
Sure.
consciousness. I mean
Yeah.
the wisdom, the truth that comes out of somebody. Because I love this saying because my wife and I, we say that, everybody that we meet is God incarnate. It's not a person, it's God incarnate.
Yes.
So it's like you don't need to enjoy the shade to benefit from that tree. Because if you look at it like what am I planting 7 generations from now?
Oh, love that.
It's like you just live in that freedom. So my goal is to be unattached to the
Mm-hmm.
outcome, to the
Mm-hmm.
journey, and all the adventures that come because I got attached to the journey. That's why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
So yes, I have big goals and big dreams and big visions, but it's for like the future. It's not for me. If
Mm-hmm.
I get to enjoy it along the way, I'm open to everything. But I've learned to detach. And when I enjoy the journey, I know the magic happens because I'm not attached.
Yes.
And let me just say, because I do want to say this, Payment,
Please.
is to embrace that it's okay to make massive amounts of money
Oh,
and be the
absolutely.
greatest version of myself. But it's enjoying the unfoldment of that, not to get there. It's like, what am I going to discover along the way? Who am I going to impact along the way? And what magic, I mean, real magic, the love, the compassion, the kindness that Alice awoke in me, I want to pay that forward to others. That's my goal. That's my mission.
Love that, brother. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. And before I forget one thing back to you, Lorna, for your books, love that. Talk to Mary. She's the best person to help you.
Okay.
If you
Thank
want,
you.
I can do an intro for you. She's amazing. She helped me with 4 books and already working on 3 other books with her as well. So, anyways,
Thank you.
very welcome. Has everybody shared their goals and dreams, what they want to achieve with the podcast?
I haven't shared yet.
All right, go ahead, please.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, what I hope to achieve, and my goal is, I want to be able to open doors for women who have been struggling with substance abuse, drug addictions, alcohol addiction, who struggle with homelessness, um, to provide a home for them so they can come and experience a different way of life. Um, I want to be able to teach the skills that they need as women to be successful for themselves, have inner peace for themselves, be
Mhm.
self-aware of many things, so they can get ahead in life, be self-reliant, so they can depend
Mhm.
on themselves only, and get themselves motivated, get them determined to be able to be successful, to be somebody in life for themselves. I want to be able to reunite families and mothers with their children.
Mhm.
I want to be able to reunite married couples, who are struggling with addiction and have families, provide them resources and services to improve the lives of families and citizens, and especially women.
Yes.
I want to impact women.
Thank you. That's lovely. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Love that. Love that. The impact that you guys all have. I love being with heart-centered, purpose-driven people. Absolutely love that. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let me just move on. All right. Here's a couple of very powerful reminders. This is one of the most powerful realization that I came across, and that was the client or your customer has to care about the problem before they can care about the solution, you and your offer. Let me repeat that. The client customer has to care about the problem before they can care about the solution, you and your offer. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is our task as a coach, mentor, or my favorite word, activator, our 2 main tasks are number 1, to educate our audience and helping them understand what is a problem, why the problem is here in the first place, and what would happen if they don't take any action. Because we don't know what we don't know. Now, you as a coach, mentor, activator, when you educate, make your audience clearly understand what is the problem they're having in ways that they didn't even know themselves, then they will see you as their expert, their authority, their leader, the go-to person. In their mind, you will become the go-to person. And then the next logical question they have in mind is, wow, now how do I fix this? Well, glad you asked. That's why I'm here. Don't focus on the solution. Focus first on helping them fully understand the full scope and amplification of what is a problem and what's going to happen if they don't take any action. That's one of your main tasks. Does that make sense, guys? And then once you do that, it's going to open the door for them to working with you. And the next main task we have, and that's probably one of the most important, that's what's going to make or break any conversation when it comes to so-called getting them to work with you, and that is to make them believe and realize that they can do whatever you're trying to offer. That's the ultimate question. And speaking of that, the three key questions that every prospect, every person, even me and you and all of us, whenever we're looking at a new offer, investing in ourselves, we have many questions, sure. But the three main questions that we have are these ones. Number one, can I trust him or her? That's the first one. The second one is he or she qualified and competent enough to really help me? And the third one, and that's the ultimate question, that's going to determine whether they're going to say yes to you or no. Can I do it? Sure, you did it, they did it, he did it, shit, but what about little me? It's all about me. Can I do it? That's your main task. And how do you do that? Again, first of all, how do we educate them? We educate them with these four principal things. First, you have to be extremely specific. That comes back to what I've been telling you guys since the beginning. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity is the name of the game. You have to be very specific as to what is the problem. And then what is the reason the problem exists in the first place? And then make them feel the pain of the consequences of if they don't take any action, any drastic action right now. For example, for me and my business, as I said earlier, the number one reason why most coaches fail to get any traction online, getting leads, let alone sales, is because they lack clarity. They want to help everyone. And when they want to help everyone with issues, guess what? Their message doesn't resonate with anyone. And when that happens, they're not getting any leads. No leads, no sales. No sales, no revenue. No revenue, no business. No business, you have to shut down your business and face the real consequence of getting a job. Make them feel it in a very vivid, painful way, because they have to really understand what is the problem. And again, your number one task is never to sell, not to talk about your offer, but to educate them, make them understand what is a problem. First, and when you do that, you're going to do things. You're going to blow their mind, while also actually do three things. Blow their mind, build trust and rapport, and at the same time displaying your expertise. Because, hey, you understand the problem inside out. And because you were the one that really went in that depth to make them understand what is a problem, guess what's going to happen? You will be the go-to person. Only you. Because no one else has spent that much time really cared about them, sincerely cared about them. And of course, once you do that, it opens the door to everything. And the next question they will ask you is, wow, how do I fix this? Can you help me? Sure. And that's when that opens the door for you to talking about your services, your offer. Do you see how that works? How powerful that is? Does that make sense? Awesome. And then the second part, equally important again, is to make them believe and realize that, hey, you can do it. It's not just about me, just a select few. Because again, when someone is looking for a coach, they're not looking for a disconnected multimillionaire. They're looking for someone who's just 1, 2, 3, at most 4 steps ahead of them. Someone they can relate with, identify with, resonate with. Someone that they can see themselves as themselves. And someone that is accessible, reachable. Someone that has walked in the shoes. Hey, I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what you're going through. I've made it. I'm here. Hold my hand as a big brother, big sister. I'll help you too. This is what people want. And give them a taste of a small win, ASAP. And how do you do that? Again, by being very, very specific. Let me share with you a very simple and silly example. Let's say I say I want to help you lose, I want to help you become fit or sexy for the summer so you can wear that bikini or that, show off your chest in the summer, for example. That's very vague. Instead, tell them, hey, let me show you how to lose 2 pounds, 2 lousy pounds in the next 7 to 10 days with just one exercise. 5 minutes a day. That's something even the most busy person in the world can do. Give them a taste of a small win ASAP, because that's going to motivate them. That's going to tell them, hey, I can do that. Even if I'm busy, I have kids, family, work, and all that stuff, I can still do it. Again, two main tasks. One, to educate them, make them understand what is the problem. And second, make them believe that they can do it. That's the ultimate thing. You help them answer that question, the sale is in the pocket. Literally. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. And as I said earlier, how do you do that? Give them a taste of a small win ASAP. And that goes with having a laser focused, crystal clear offer. The more specific the offer, the more clarity you will have, the more it's going to resonate with them. Because the more specific you are, you want your offer to be so specific that when he or she sees, reads, or listens to you and your offer, the only question left in their mind is, what's the next step? How do I start? As opposed to what? What is that? What does he or she mean? How do I do that? Doing what? How long is it going to take me? And so on and so forth. Because the more vague your offer is, the more, confused your prospect will be. And as we all know, a confused mind doesn't take any action. Very straightforward. Here's a very, 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 very powerful principle of business that completely changed my business. And that's absolutely non-negotiable. Your offer must have that to have any chance. And that is having a quantifiable, measurable end result. Meaning, your offer should specifically state what is it they're getting, who is it for, what is it they're getting, doing what is a dream or desired outcome, and the big one, how long is it going to take for them to reach that? For example, let's contrast two offers. One, let me help you become a six-figure coach, or become a seven-figure, or six-figure, or even sell $10,000 on Amazon. For someone who's never done it, it's impossible. But instead, let me show you how to get your first paying client in the next 30 days using only leveraging the power of LinkedIn or Facebook. Now, that's very concrete. Let me show you how to lose 5 pounds the next 30 days with one exercise, 5 minutes a day. Let me help you get find, source, select, and launch your first product on Amazon in the next 90 days. That's very specific. And once you do that, all you have to do is replicate that to get client number 2, product number 2, client number 3, product number 3, so on and so forth. And that's when you reach your goal, whatever that is. Break it down. Break it down. Just like there's an African proverb, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Nobody's a mouth big enough to swallow an elephant. So again, be extremely, extremely specific. For example, my offer is I help authors, coaches to launch the profitable podcast in 3 weeks and then help them get the first paying client in as little as 30 days from the moment they launch their podcast. That's very specific. Who is it? Doing what? How long? These 4 elements are absolutely non-negotiable, because once you have that in your offer, then the only question is very clear. Your prospect knows exactly what they're getting. The only question left in their mind is, wow, what's the next step? How do I start? As opposed to, what do I do? What does she mean? What's gonna that entail? How long is it gonna take? How much is it gonna be? And so on and so forth. And before they know it, we're talking themselves out of whatever you're doing. Do you see how powerful that is, guys? This is incredibly powerful. the quantifiable, measurable end result. Your offer must have that. This is something I cover in depth. I spent an entire week on that in my academy. This is way beyond the scope of this call. Actually, in my previous challenge, I spent an entire day doing that. But for this one, I just wanted to show you how to launch a podcast. So again, very, very, very powerful. This is something that is absolutely non-negotiable. Again, it all goes down to what I've been saying all week long. Clarity, clarity, clarity. How do you get ultimate clarity? By identifying your zone of genius, identify your gift, and then building your offer, crafting your message, literally building your business around your zone of genius. So all you have to do is just share your story, speaking from the heart by how you've overcome whatever crap you had to overcome. These are the best, most impactful, and most profitable businesses. Don't go after the shiny object or the most trendy or sexy, whatever. Sure, you can make money that way, but it's not sustainable. People can see that it's not coming from your heart. And what people are really starving for right now is authenticity. Anyways, enough preaching. So you guys get it? This is very powerful. And again, I mentioned that earlier. The number one reason most coaches and entrepreneurs struggle to get any traction, leads, let alone clients, with any consistency is because they lack clarity. Speaking of that, let's feel the pain. Let's talk about the cost of lack of clarity. And I want to hear that from each of you. How much is not having clarity in your offer costing you and your business each month? How much per transaction is that costing you? How much money are you leaving on the table? How much more, ultimately, how much more can you charge if you did have that laser focused clarity in your offer? Let's be vulnerable and let's feel the pain here. But in a good way, it's a good pain because it's going to give you that breakthrough to go to the next state, next level up. All right, let's hear it. I'm going to go from right to left this time. I'm going to switch it. The first on my screen. I love your background, Sharon.
I think that it's cost me a lot. I think that if I'd been able to have a clear vision years ago, I would have been able to put my courses online. I think that that's what's really stopped me and it's lowered my self-esteem. But I think if I would have had this very clear vision, I would be in a way different position than what I am right now. Even though I've done very well with my one-on-one, I'm working very hard at my business as opposed to I could have had that cash cow years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Lorna.
For me, I would say, yeah, it's a huge cost. And I know that in some ways, as I've been, I guess, the inner work piece, it's kind of, okay, what is it? And I've been hesitant to put something out because things just seem to keep changing for me. And so I pull back rather than, okay, put it out for now. And then, yeah, as things change, I can do it, but let it be the offer for right now. So, yeah, I would say that the cost has been huge, both in terms of financially and in terms of the stress. And it's also been a great thing because each of those has brought up old stuff for me that I get to clear through, which now I can bring forward into my offer.
Absolutely. And how much more do you think you can charge once you do have that clarity? And that question is for all of you. I'm going to ask each of you that.
I would say, I'm going to say it's hard to say. Certainly more. And I think as well, the clarity will come when I can, instead of it being sort of the lack of clarity of, I don't know how long it's going to take. It feels like it can be more of a concise package and then more dollar value for that.
You know, one thing that we all hear since we're kids is that less and more. Don't try to offer and solve all of the issues. Identify what is the main pain point and go hard on that. And once you help them identify that number one pain point and you get them the result they want, then it's going to be so much easier for you. Pain point number 2, 3, and 4 can be beautiful upsells, as opposed to building a program that solves all the problem. That's going to, confuse them. Because again, only God can do that, or maybe to some extent Tony Robbins, but we're not that. So
That's
focus.
thank you. I think that's a key piece there,
Yeah.
Damon, because I think that's what I'm trying to do is to create a program that addresses multiple things. Okay,
Yes.
sequentially, but there. So one piece. Thank you.
Very welcome. I cover that extensively inside my academy. There's way beyond that, as to identify by simply asking your audience among, let's say, they have 3, 4 key or most painful pain points. Hey, which one is the number one? Which one is the one that if you were to solve it, it would solve everything else? Russell Brunson calls it the domino effect. Find the number one, the big one. If you break that, then it's going to automatically sweep the others. So focus on that. Look at if you've been in business long enough, if you have enough data, look at your data simply, or even better, simply ask them, hey, what is among all these 3 or 4, what is the one that is the most challenging? If you had a magic wand, which one of these would be the first one that you would eliminate? Simple that. There's a powerful book in principle. Again, it's part of my academy, but I'm sharing it with you guys because I want to help you, called the Ask Method by Ryan Levesque. Have you heard of that? Google it, please. Sorry, ask Uncle Y, YouTube. Yes, plenty of videos, simply asking. And this is the same approach that all the big boys, Tony Robbins, Russell Brunson, Dean Graziosi, all those guys are doing 7, 8, 9-figure launches. They don't spend a penny or a second building a program. All they do is they go to the lists and they say, guys, we're excited to help to launch a new program that's going to help you with this. However, we need your help. What is the number one thing stopping you from achieving X? And they just wait until they get at least 100 replies. Once they get 100 replies, that data is absolutely gold because it tells you exactly patterns, what people are looking for. If you notice, say, 2 or 3 or 4 main patterns, guess what? Those 3 or 4 patterns will be the main pillars of your program. And the smaller patterns will become sub modules. Just like in the Bible. Not in the Bible. Give them what they want. Rule number 1 of business. Just like you in a restaurant, they give you a menu. You want a steak? How do you want it? You go to a dealership for a car. Okay, what model, what year, what color, what options? They don't tell you, oh, this is what we have, take it or leave it. Maybe some lousy dealership do that, but the successful one, hey, so what do you want, sir or ma'am? Tell us what you're looking for. Just exactly ask them. That's exactly what these guys do. Even my little academy that I started in November of 2021, I follow the same principle. I simply ask my audience, hey, do you have your own podcast? 99% would say no, and ask them why. 3 main reasons. And I shared with you guys that on the first day. I have no idea how to start or where to start. I'm not a techie. And I don't know how to get the right people, how to grow it and monetize it. Guess what? Those 3 pillars I've been up to last summer. The structure of my academy was 3 weeks. Week 1, foundations, how to start. Week 2, tech week. Week 3, how to get the right people, how to grow it. Again, it's not rocket science. Ask your audience what they want, what they're looking for, and simply give it to them. You know what? It's all back to common sense, back to basics. Do not waste your time or money trying to do research, building, what me or you think. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the people that are willing, ready, and able to pay you think. That's the only feedback that matters. I mentioned to you earlier, maybe I mentioned in the UK group, it's a good idea to know where to start, but don't be rigid. For example, when I started my business first, my avatar was I wanted to work with male conservative entrepreneurs in the 40s because that's me. But then within 2 months, I realized 90% of my clients are women. So I had to pivot. Russell Brunson, billionaire. One of the first products he sold successfully was a guide to help men overcome porn addiction. And within a couple of weeks, you notice that 90% of his clients, guess what, were women. Because the women were buying that for the men in their lives. So again, it's a good idea to have where you want to start, but do not be rigid. Pay very close attention to the feedback, the data you're getting from the market, because the only feedback that matters is the feedback you're getting from the people that are willing, ready, and able to pay you. And people even more so that have already paid you. That's the ultimate feedback. Just like in The Godfather, it's not personal, it's business. Don't take it personal. It's strictly business. Does that make sense, guys? It's really back to common sense. Has everyone shared their answer about the cost of clarity in their business?
No, I haven't.
Okay, go ahead, please. Sorry, I apologize. I get too carried away. I get too excited.
For me, clarity means power.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have this crystal clear clarity, then it's very easy for me to take the very next step.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Just like a very simple, silly example. Let's say you get in your car or you get in a taxi. You say, where do you want to go? Well, whatever. Just take me anywhere. Are you going to end up where you want to go? No. You know, you need to know where you're going to get there. If not, you're going to end up where you don't want to.
Exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Who else hasn't shared the answer?
Well, I haven't.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Well, I think the most thing that I'm going to lose is saving people's lives or helping people. Maybe saying if there's people out there who are willing to change and wanting to change and are looking for a place, like here in the Imperial Valley, there really isn't rehabilitation centers. There's not halfway houses. There isn't, and there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of homeless people. There's a lot of people on drugs, and there's really nothing here. And I think if I'm not clear in what I want to do, and how I want to do it, and be specific about it all, I think I'm going to lose both clients, which are the customers, and also shareholders, people who are willing and wanting to invest in something like that.
And if I may add to that, the most important thing you will lose is you will lose yourself.
Right, exactly. That too. Yes,
because
sir.
you will be unmotivated, you will be very frustrated, very
Right.
bitter, disappointed, and that's going to take you down a very negative downward spiral.
You are so very right.
Because again, the ultimate person you will lose is you. And that's not being
Yeah.
selfish. That's being very altruistic. You need to be the
Yeah.
best version of you so you can help others. If you're not, you're going to be a liability. You're going to be literally useless.
Right.
So again, one of the things I had to learn is you're the most important person in your life. It's okay to
Thank
put
you.
yourself first. It's actually not okay. It's necessary to put yourself first. You need to fill your cup
Right.
first. This is why on the plane they tell you to put your oxygen mask first before even your toddler.
Right.
So yeah. So again, you've got it absolutely right. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
sharing. Thank you for being
Thank you.
open and vulnerable. This is what we need. This is what we want. This is what your clients are desperately looking for.
Yes.
And do not ever be ashamed of your past.
Thank you. Appreciate
Very
it.
welcome. Very welcome. Awesome. Anyone else? Mike, go ahead, Mike.
I think that was beautiful. Great shares, everyone. One thing that I resonated is with what Lorna said. I guess you can say I've been a spiritual perfectionist, and one thing that I gained the importance of clarity because who am I being clear with? Because one thing that I discovered through the inner work is that reason that I used as well with Lorna. That's why I haven't written my book. And my wife gave me an idea a long time ago, but I didn't really see it. I heard it. You know how it goes in one ear and out the other? She says, Michael, you can always do a refined version of your book. And I was like, no, because I want my book to be like the most authentic, the most real, right? So I kept that. So here's what I'm getting at is through all the inner work or the inner play or the inner dance, whatever we want to call it, the in self-investigation is really what I would love to refer it as, is like a detective, you know, to solve a crime, he must know all the details and all the clues and the evidence, right? So I investigated the voice. And when I investigated the voice, I got clear on who the voice was. So I can't help anybody else if I don't know who that voice is.
Yes.
So once I discovered that voice, I realized I wasn't clear. I was believing somebody who wasn't clear, which was not me. So once I discovered that, I could truly support somebody else, that that voice is getting in their way because it has nothing to do with them.
Mhm.
So clarity to me, what I've discovered through this journey is that voice of the fear of failure, the seeking validation. It was not Michael, like the I of Michael speaking. It was Michael, the little boy that didn't get the attention, they didn't get the toy or whatever. I'm not gonna give like details, but whatever that boy didn't get, right? It was that voice. So once I got clear on, discovering that voice, like I became the parent of that child. So what clarity means to me is being a parent of clarity, not letting
Mhm.
clarity tell you what clarity is like you maturing so that the clarity becomes your child to serve you.
Mhm.
Because I was looking for clarity like it was a trade. It was when somebody says, I'm going to take a confidence class, you can't take a confidence class.
Let's start
It
within.
comes from within, right? So once you discover that confidence, because it's to confide, to trust in oneself, right? So long story short is the importance of clarity, it almost destroyed my life to ignore it. And literally, no, let me say this. Literally destroyed my life, payment. Because I
That's
was
your
in that
gift.
room right
Share that.
there.
Embrace it. Share it now.
Yes, yes. I was in this room right here, payment. And I felt like the worst in the world. I felt like the biggest failure. And I got that aha moment. Wait a minute. I discovered it. It's like I discovered gold or something.
Mhm.
I discovered, I said, you know what? I'm the greatest failure. Because once I realized I was the greatest failure, I realized God is the success. Because you said
Amen.
it best. You said God is the transformation, not us. That's what I discovered in the clarity. So clarity to me, it's like a gift of God.
Indeed. Powerful. Just want to add to one thing that you said, about perfection. Ironically, the best way to be authentic is to start where you are, to be imperfect. Not to be, remember what I said since the beginning? If you're too perfect, you will lose people because they cannot relate with you. If you have a child screaming, have him sit on your lap. If you have a dog or a cat, bring him on your shoulder, whatever. Actually, one of the guys in the UK is a very successful speaker, business person, very established. He has two dogs and a cat. At first, he was apologizing. I said, "Listen, bring a cat." He ended up now just letting the cat literally on his neck. That makes him more personable. So again, start where you are. One of my favorite notions of business is fail fast, fail forward. In life and business, important to know what to do, but what's 10 times more important is to know what not to do or what not to say. You learn best through your mistakes. Your mistakes are not mistakes. They're your greatest gifts because you either learn or you earn. And for you to earn, you need to learn first. See how that works, guys? So, anyways, has everyone shared the answer? Cool. Is that helping you guys realizing how important, non-negotiable is clarity? And that's literally what's holding you back from leveling up. Clarity, and then here. There's a saying that says the sky is the limit. Then I realized, wait a second, the sky starts right here where your head ends. If that were the sky, that's a pretty damn low sky. I don't want that. The real limit is what's here, what you tell yourself when you're alone. Just like Tony Robbins always says, change your story, change your life. Literally. This is not cheesy. I've seen it I used to believe, that's BS. But then I had to go literally to the bottom, depressed, suicidal, almost homeless, to really realize that that's what really helped me to get back on my feet. And this is what my TED Talk was about. It was not about discovering, you know, insider trading or getting into Bitcoin 20 years ago. No, it was about going in within, tap into myself, understanding, asking the right questions, and reconnecting with myself. That opened the world to me. Anyways, let's move on. So again, clarity, having a crystal clear clarity is a non-negotiable, is a must, because when you have clarity in your message becomes magnetic. And when you have a magnetic offer, that's when it becomes very powerful, very profitable, That's a pound symbol. The pound is my favorite currency, and all that. So yeah. Anyways, other benefits, tremendous benefits of having a laser focused clarity is because, as I mentioned before, it's going to allow you to attract a much higher caliber of people, whether they're prospects, guests, clients. Why? Because when you're very clear on what you're helping people with and who, then you will attract people who also have clarity. They know exactly what they want. And guess who these people are? The people that have clarity, they know exactly what they want. They are the successful people, because you need to have clarity, and everything else that falls with it after that, discipline and all that. That's what's going to make you successful. And guess what? These people, not only they understand the value of self-investment, but they also have the means to invest in themselves and invest in your program, my program, and so on and so forth. And people who listen to podcasts, again, as I mentioned, they understand the value of self-investment. They make more money and have disposable income to invest in themselves and in your services. So when you have clarity, you attract a different caliber of people. And as I mentioned earlier, your very best clients will be your podcast listeners, because you have that connection, that rapport, that trust with you. As I mentioned earlier, up to last summer, 100% of my clients came from my podcast. How about that? 100%. Can you name any other medium or platform that can even come close to that? 100%. And my program is not cheap. So again, because of that trust, that rapport, trust is everything. Anyways, now let's talk about, as I mentioned earlier, this is part of the pain point I help solve. When you have no clarity, your message is diluted. It doesn't connect with anyone. If it doesn't connect anyone, no leads, no clients, no business, no revenue, and facing the real threat of shutting down your business and looking for a job. Make them really feel in a vivid way. What is the pain point? What is the pain they're having? Again, this is a very overly simplified way of what I do. Of course, I do much more detail when I talk to an actual prospect, but this is the gist. Make them fully understand what is the pain point, what is the problem, why they're here. Now, let's move on. Can you relate with any of these? Raise your hand each time you do. Are you struggling to get any warm, quality, responsive leads for your business consistently? That's the key word. Wondering where your next lead, let alone client, is coming from. Are you tired of not being seen, playing small, and not getting any visibility in a crowded red ocean market? Are you tired of charging so low that you're always struggling to make ends meet? I used to be that guy. Are you tired of attracting prospects with saying anything over $100 is too expensive? Are people that are asking you a payment plan for a $500 program, and then they ghost you after the first payment? Tired of not having any reliable system where you can get your exact ideal avatar leads on demand and clients organically without spamming, even if you have no audience? Absolutely. I used to be that guy. Which one of these for you would you say is the most painful challenge that you're facing right now in your business? Just one word. Who wants to start?
Well, I think finances is my main thing that's I'm struggling with, because everything takes money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you find clients that can actually afford what you're offering? By having laser focused clarity. Because
Right.
clarity attracts people with clarity. They're successful by default, because to be successful, you need to have clarity. There's no way around it.
Maybe too, I am not vocalizing my business like I should. You know, I'm thinking too much, but I'm not action. I'm not putting in the action as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else wants to share theirs?
Well,
Madlena?
number 3, not being seen and getting any visibility in a crowded red ocean market.
Yes. And honestly, you don't need a big, massive audience. Like my audience, my YouTube channel, you can check it out right now if you want. 1,438 subscribers. That's nothing. But for me, it's not about the numbers. My videos on YouTube, I'm lucky if I get 50 views. I don't play the vanity metrics game. I'm all for the connection, the relationship, the rapport, the trust. Anyone else? What about you, Lorna?
It's a combination of wondering where his client is coming from and then tired of not having a reliable system. I think again, it comes back to that part about clarity of really getting clear on how do I state my ideal client
Yeah,
and the message that I have rather than all over. So
yeah, exactly. I've been there. Sharon.
I think that the thing for me is really that it's worked for me the way that it's been the one-on-one, and now I'm really ready to do it differently. I haven't wanted to overextend myself for many reasons. And so it's not a matter of the minute I believed that I was going to get high paying clients, I get them. I don't, but I had a friend who really kept saying to me, you have to believe that you can charge 250, 300 an hour as opposed to charging 100, and then allowing those clients to come to me and telling people that that's what I charge. So it's more a matter of me deciding that I'm actually going to step into it as opposed to it not
Yeah.
coming to me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else wants to share theirs? Michael, go ahead.
Well, it's something that I can even feel like the feels even before I share. Um, I'm a poster child of, you know, acting like I cared about the world and taking everybody with me. So what I mean by that is I use surrender as a way of spiritual work,
Mm-hmm.
but not taking surrenderless action, meaning when you're
I love
guided to
that.
take action, take action. And for 25 years, I did the work. But you could do all the work for the rest of your life and never take action, and you'll never discover what's within you that's capable of beyond our wildest imagination. So the reason why I'm sharing this is that I don't think it's a system. I don't think it's a program. I don't think it's people. I don't think it's any of that. I think it's because I used God or
Mm-hmm.
universe to blame the universe that I'm going to surrender and you're going to bring the clients. I'm going to do the spiritual work and you're going to show me how powerful you are without saying that. Because I wouldn't say that. I would surrender. So I'm just going to keep meditating. I'm going to go the deepest that I can go within myself. But I was doing it with the ego. It
Mm-hmm.
was so subtle that I couldn't realize the ego was trying to surrender to show God the ego was about surrender. And when I realized that, that's when I told you about the voice. I realized, wait a minute, when you let go of that, like we only tap into 1% of our true like reality. So
Mm-hmm.
when we do that real vibrational like tuning into, it's like the people show up, the opportunities show up because you're coming with that magnetic, like you said. So what I take full responsibility is like I use spirituality or Michael, right? Or doing the work as an entitlement instead of a responsibility. That's where I take full responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to share that with the world because there's a lot of spiritual people that are poor because they think once they do the work, my life's going to change,
Bingo.
right?
Yes. You have to put in the work. It's not going to fall in your lap. I used to be that guy too. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing it. All right, let's move on. Now, you know, how many of these can you relate with? So if you're looking to skyrocket your visibility, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of the right audience, if you're looking to build your authority and be seen, not just as an expert authority or leader, but as their authority, their expert, their leader in your field, and want to connect heart to heart with exactly the audience and attract them organically, having a systematic system to get you lead on demand, then you know what to do as to having your own laser focused YouTube channel or podcast built around your zone of genius. And that's going to allow you to find your voice, your purpose, your impact, and by simply sharing a gift. The good news is it's not complicated. You don't have to go back to school to get a PhD, none of that. You just need to go inward, identify, do the work, and the work is a lot less time consuming than might seem to really identify your zone of genius. I've given you a strong introduction to that. What I've shared with you so far, does that make sense? Tell me honestly, does that make sense? And please do not look at this as passive entertainment. If you take action on this, this can transform your life, open the world, because I am, just like you mentioned, Michael, I'm a poster child for that. You know my story. Depressed, almost hopeless and homeless, almost suicidal. Nothing was working. I was cursed. Just like in the cartoons, you know, there was almost like a black cloud hanging over my head and following me everywhere I went. That's where I was. And it all changed because of this. So, of course, as I mentioned, the podcast is the answer. So far, what we covered is day one, shared with you how podcasting completely changed my life. Day two, about how the benefits of podcasting, generally speaking, and more specifically for both you personally and your business. Then we looked on day three as to brainstorming and identify your zone of genius, your avatar, and now to launch your podcast in 3 easy steps. Day four, we created your podcast assets. And day five, putting it together. And so that you can monetize your podcast the right way. And now the next step is to simply implement it. I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's talk about math, because money is about math. The math doesn't lie. If you do one podcast episode a week with the exact ideal audience, prospect, as long as your offer is on point, you should get one client a month. From personal experience and people I know who are doing podcasting the right way. Now, if you go all in and you do one podcast episode a day, Monday to Friday, with the exact ideal prospects, and your offer is on point, laser focused, there's no reason that you should not get one paying client a week. The math doesn't lie. It's all about conversation. We all get on multiple Zoom calls a day. Why not turn that into a podcast? It's not asking you to spend 20 hours a week to do that. No, literally 30, 45 minutes, 60-minute tops. That's all it takes. Now let's hear about you. Share your offer, how much you're charging currently. Just share your offer. What is it? How much is it? Just one sentence so we can all do some projection and some thinking and dreaming out loud. Left or right, Sharon?
I do have a system. I don't have it in front of me because the clients that I have now have actually gone beyond the original offer, which was $3,000 variations of what I offered for coaching sessions. So my coaching sessions vary between $250 and $300 an hour, but it was a package that included all of the different things, and then having access to me as well as unlimited emails and conversations and things.
All right, thank you.
So it was an $8,000 package, a $5,000 package, and a $3,000 package.
Awesome, perfect. I love those numbers. Love that. Michael.
Right now it's, excuse me. Right now it's $200 an hour, but like you posted on there, we've been attracting the clients that either their family referred, so they get the family discount, which is $50 an hour. So instead we go from 200 to 50, which is still something in the bank, but it's not the high ticket that we
Sure.
are, acquiring. But we're looking to jump from either 10K for 6 months or 5K for 3 months. So
Okay.
that's what we're working on right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Love that. Love that vision. Lorna.
Currently, I'm doing only one-on-ones, and it's 2,000 a month. And
Okay.
I'm looking to do a group program, which will be 3, 6, or 9 months. And still to determine, I'm looking at about depends 5,000 for each 3 months. But then if they do the whole three components, then it would be different. So that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Love those numbers. Madlina.
I'm in the same scope. I love working with people 3 to 6 months so that they can see the results, tangible results. And the numbers are for 3 months, the 4,000, and for 6 months, 8,000.
What currency?
US dollars.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Love that. Suzanne. Suzanne, you there? Okay, let me see. Anyone else? Okay. Suzanne is not there. Okay, no worries. Let's move on. Now, as I mentioned to you earlier, let's do some projection. Let's take a lowball figure. Let's say your offer is only $2,000. And if you were to do one podcast episode a week, so one client a month, that's an extra 2,000 a month or an extra 24,000 a year. Now, if you go all in, one episode a day, Monday to Friday, 5 a week, you invite the right people, your offer is on point, laser clear focus. There's no reason why you shouldn't get at least one client a week. One client a week paying you $2,000 a month, $2,000 each. That's an extra over $100,000. Do you see how powerful that is? The numbers don't lie. Because again, as long as your offer is on point and on the podcast, on the calls, you don't sell, you don't pitch, you don't try to convince. Instead, you have a heart-to-heart conversation. Your two main goals when you get on calls with people are twofolds. One, to build trust and rapport, and to serve him, help him. When you do that authentically, sincerely, it opens the door. They will ask you, so what about you, Sharon? What about you, Michael, Lorna, Madlina, Susan, Alice? What do you do? And we tell them, hey, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Oh, can you help me? Sure, let's set up a time to talk, because it's all based on trust. There's no magic potion. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the magic happens if you were to go all in and do one podcast episode a day, Monday to Friday, keep him short, sweet, to the point, 30, 45 minutes. That's a sweet spot. One client a week, $2,000. How having a system that's going to get you one client a week going to affect your business and your life? What one word, just one word, what one word would you describe that? If you were to have a system that's going to bring you one client a week. Let's
The
hear
word
it.
is thrive.
Thrive. Beautiful. Love that. Suzanne,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yes, sir.
what one,
Well, go ahead.
what one word would you describe if once you have a system that's going to bring you one client, paying client a week?
What's one word?
Or if you have 2, 3 words, that's fine as well. Not too. It's not the
Uh,
military here.
life.
Sorry?
It'll bring me life. It'll bring life. It'll create
Yes.
life for
Yes.
everybody,
Yes.
for
Yes.
me,
Yes.
for everybody.
Yes. Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, purpose, but like, because when I see those numbers, it's how many people are impacted with those numbers.
Yes. Yes.
It,
Yes.
it's like you can't have those numbers without impacting those lives. So it's like,
Totally.
like even Susie said, I don't know if she said light or life,
Yeah.
but it's like they go hand in hand. It's like you're bringing people.
Yeah.
Can I share something really briefly on this, Payment?
Please
Because
keep
it's
it
like
brief. Yes, please keep it brief. Yeah, go ahead.
we watched the movie Mary Magdalene earlier today, my wife and
Oh,
I, and Jesus is tearing down the people selling people's for right, And he says, is there a purpose behind this? Are you seeing people transform when they leave from here? So the reason why the reason why I share that is because jobs are really not doing it for humanity. But when you have a podcast, people that are making a difference in the world, and you're helping serve people, you're bringing life to you don't even know who, right? Just like you said, right? So it's like when you see those numbers, it's like Susie said it beautifully, light, life. It's like
Love that.
love, right? So it's like it's beautiful.
Love that. Thank you. Sharon.
Abundance, I think more financial freedom than what I have already. So I think, yeah.
And you know what comes with more financial freedom? More impact.
Yeah.
Because you can literally amplify. The more money you make, the more you can amplify your impact. You know, one thing that we all spiritual entrepreneurs we fall into is that, oh, money is evil. We want to help everyone for free and all that. But guess what? You can't really have the impact until you make the money. So you can serve the people at the highest level.
I don't agree that money is evil.
Exactly. Money is, it can be anything it can be evil, it can be a beautiful blessing. I see money. One of the things that was holding me back when I was in my poverty mindset was I equated money to being evil. But then I learned that money is not evil, it's energy. It's beautiful energy. It's a blessing. You can't control energy. The fast it comes to you, the fast it goes back. You know?
Right.
Give it speed, give it velocity. Money loves speed, you know? So yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. So now, as I said, you have two options. You can either say, oh, well, this is beautiful, but it doesn't really apply to me, and keep doing what you've been doing so far and keep getting the same results. Or you can ask yourself a tremendously powerful question, that is, how can I implement that into my business and life? And how can I get leads on demand and clients organically, even if you have no audience and without spamming? And that is by launching your not just a podcast, but a profitable podcast and YouTube channel, which is built around your zone of genius. Because zone of genius equals clarity. Clarity equals magnetism. Magnetism equals profit. Profit equals impact. So this is it. So I have a very special and exclusive invitation for you guys. I'm inviting you for my Profitable Podcast Academy for the upcoming February class, which will kick off on Monday, February 10th. I'll be doing two classes, one for the UK and Europe, and one for the US, Canada, Australia. For the US, Canada, Australia is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to share the full details, if I may. And for the UK at 12 noon on Monday. So my program is a 3-week program. We go way in depth into what I covered. I'll be working with you on a one-on-one basis. I cap my classes to 5 to 7 students per class on purpose because I want to keep my success rate to 100%. I'm not in a business of selling a bunch of membership. I'm in the business of collecting success stories. When people ask me, what do you do? Oh, I'm a collector. What do you collect? I collect success stories. And also because, listen, I live in paradise. I want to enjoy life. I don't want to be tied to a computer 24/7. Let's be real. So I do one live coaching call a week on Mondays. This is the UK time, but for the US, Canada, Australia, it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. And I believe in Australia, if there's anyone in Australia, I don't think so. That's 12 noon Sydney time. So one live coaching call a week on Mondays, and then you get one daily video lesson for the rest of those 3 weeks. And then you also get one bonus Q&A call at the start of the week to review anything we did the previous week before jumping into the new content. We have a small group, private Facebook group, Messenger, and WhatsApp. You get unparalleled support because this is why one of the main reasons I keep my classes small in numbers, because I want to work with you at the highest level. For the next 3 to 4 weeks, when I go to each class, you guys become my number one priority. From the time I wake up to the moment I sleep, I'm available on Messenger and WhatsApp. I literally live on WhatsApp. That's my so-called residence. Because I'm a nomad, I'm literally a homeless. I travel all the time. At custom, one time they asked, "Where's your residency?" I say WhatsApp, and the guy didn't like it. Said no. I said, "What do you mean?" Oh, Anyway, that's a joke. So again, unparalleled support, you're my number one priority for the next 3 to 4 weeks. And we have world-class expert inside the academy. I have a world-class copywriter, Mary, as my publisher. She's going to help us as well. And all the other sales closer and all that to really help us. So here's the structure of the program for week 1. We go into in-depth to really identifying your zone of genius. What I shared with you is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to depth to identifying your zone of genius. Week 2, we build your offer. We craft your message. We basically build your business. It's not just launching a podcast. We build your business, and the podcast is the platform where we connect, where we build relationships. Week 3, I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually make money. I'm going to show you the details in a moment. And my program is 3 weeks, but I'm going to even add an extra 4th week as a bonus to be available for you to answer any question as a support. That's what I do, because I really want you guys to win and to succeed. So here's what we're going to cover, build together. Week 1, we're going to go deep into identifying your true zone of genius and gifts, so you can get that laser focused clarity to build an irresistible offer and messaging. We're going to basically be building your high ticket offer where you can sell it for at least, that's a bare minimum, $1,000, pounds, or euros. Ideally, 3,000 to 5,000 should be the minimum, because again, one of the things that I will teach you is not to make your business transactional, but make it transformational. When you make it transformational, that's when you can charge 5, 10, 15, 20,000 without an batting an eyelid. Then we're going to be also look at how to properly price your offer. That's a key point. How much you should charge. That again, that's going to be based on the outcome. We're not selling our time. We're not selling our knowledge. We're providing a transformational, life-altering, life-changing outcome. This is what you're going to build it upon. And then we're going to be building together your program the smart way. We're going to basically building your program, not just launch a podcast. And then I'm going to share with you the path to getting your first paying client as little as 30 to 45 days from the launch of your podcast. That's what you're going to do on week 1. In total. Week 1, we're going to be, again, looking at your zone of genius, doing deep work to get the laser focus clarity, identify your true zone of genius and gift, identify what is your number one pain point you're addressing and for who, laser focus clarity on who is your ideal avatar, laser focus clarity as to where is that person and hanging out and simply reaching out and inviting them. I'm going to be sharing with you even though I always say don't speak from a script, but there is some exception. I will share with you the exact script that each time I use that script gets me 50 to 100 leads, people raising their hands organically. Week 2, we're going to be, once we have that clarity, we're going to be crafting your irresistible offer, high ticket offer, building and structuring your offer the right way, clearly outlining the quantifiable, measurable end result of your offer. Again, we're going to be offering transformation, not information, not knowledge, not our time, but transformation. And pricing your irresistible offer to make it a no-brainer, even if it's at $5,000, $10,000. Because again, we're not selling time or information or knowledge. We're selling transformation, the dream outcome. And then we're going to be putting it together to create, at the end of the week, your irresistible offer. And week 3, that's my favorite week, called Money Week. I'm going to share with you all the different ways that I've used myself to make money. First is going to be leveraging Facebook groups to get visibility and build your audience from scratch. Then we're going to be building together your winning program, just the way I shared earlier, using the Ask method. I'm going to show you how to get your first paying client as little as 30 days. In some cases, if you have an audience, as little as 7 days, you can get your first paying client. And then you guys have been through that. One of the things that completely changed my business from struggling, not knowing how to get any leads or on clients, and have a system, was to run my first 5-day challenge. I did my first 5-day challenge exactly a year ago, end of January of last year. You guys have gone through that. 5-day challenges are the best way to sell any high-ticket offer. This is what Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, all those big boys and girls are doing. Because again, it's all about trust. Over the course of 5 days, you get an opportunity to build trust, rapport, share your knowledge, display expertise. And at the end, the people that really are ready, there's no even need to sell. They will say, yes, I'm ready. Like, for example, if I had done just a webinar, how many people do you think would have joined just after a single video as opposed to 5 days? Seriously, a 5 day is a no-brainer because the 5 day challenge completely changed my business. This is when my business went from being a hobby, making barely one sale a month, to having a system where I can really select what I can work with. And then last but definitely not least, the one thing that's going to allow you to give yourself a massive raise anytime you want. And that is by leveraging testimonials. Quick story. My coach is a high 7-8 figure coach, is a former pastor in Toronto, Canada. He used to struggle. He started his business in October of 2020. He's a master closer. His first class, he only charged $500. He had a bunch of people, yes. But then he did one thing that completely changed the trajectory and destiny of his family. He spent the next 30 days focusing on one thing and one thing only, getting short testimonials, video testimonials, 60 to 90 seconds from the people that attended his event. And that did wonders. It allowed him to go from charging only $500 to $10,000 in a matter of 30 days. 30 days. Why? Because testimonials show results. People want results and transformation. And anytime you want, you can give yourself a raise. Unlike corporate, you don't have to beg, you don't have to, and to settle only for $1 raise per year. No. $500, $1,000 each time. Rule of thumb is each time you get 5 to 10 testimonials, give yourself a raise. My coach started at 500, then he went to 10,000. I joined his academy back in June of 2023. I paid $10,000. Now the same program is 25,000. He has a VIP program one-on-one, and he has a waiting list. He's charging $75,000 for 3 months. But because he has the testimonials, the results, people are lining up just to shut up and take my money. So testimonials have been a game changer, and I'm going to share that with you guys. So what I wanted you to do is book a call with me for next week to really brainstorm and see how we can implement a profitable podcast and build your high-ticket offer built around your zone of genius and laser-focused clarity with me. Let's do that next week. Or if you're available, I'd be happy to jump on a call with you after this call. I just need a break, though. So again, we are not just launching a podcast. We are building an impactful, profitable business through podcasting. This is something very important I want you to understand. 30 to 60 days from today, you will have a reliable system where you can get leads on demand and clients organically without spamming, even if you have no audience. This is my quantifiable, measurable end result. Because again, once you have the system, the clarity, it's simply a matter of execution. And the good news is execution is very easy. Simply inviting people, not chasing, not asking, not begging, simply inviting. So here's a question. If I were to help you make an extra 50K this year, hypothetical question, would you pay me $5,000? Raise your hand. If I were to guarantee you to make 50,000, would you pay me 5,000? It's a no-brainer, right? But the good news is, it's not going to cost you anywhere near $5,000. If you go on my website right now, it is $5,000. It's going to go to $6,000. But because I want to start the year with a bang and help as many heart-centered, soul-aligned entrepreneurs like me, people that I know, respect, and care for, if you go on my website, you will see this a screenshot. It's 5,000 going to 6,000 soon. Here it says 4,000, but I'm going to go even 2 steps ahead. I'm going to give you a $2,500 scholarship. So your tuition is only going to be $2,500. I've never done that before. I'm doing that right now just for you guys because I want you to win. I've been blessed. I want you to make it a no-brainer for you. It's a no-brainer. This is only for this group, only for the attendees of the challenge. The same offer for the people in the UK. It's 2,000 pounds or 2,500 US. That's my offer. It's an absolute no-brainer. When I shared that with my coach, he said, "Are you out of your mind? It's time for you to raise it to $6,000, even $10,000. Why are you reducing it?" He says, "Because I've been blessed. Now I want to pass on that blessing to others. It's not about the money, the impact. I'm not greedy, but I want to make it a no-brainer as possible." So that's my offer. Book a time if you have any question, if you want to brainstorm further with me this week, this coming week, or even if you're available, I'd be happy to stay with you right now. If you want to have a call to help you make that decision, to really build yourself, not just, again, I'm not helping you to launch a podcast. You don't need me. You can go on YouTube, find all information. What we're doing, as I mentioned here, we are building you a reliable system, building you an impactful and profitable business through podcasting. All of it built around your zone of genius. So all you have to do is share your story speaking from the heart. Because when you share, as I always said, your crap is your gold, your message is your message. This is what I said earlier. Don't be ashamed of your past. Because that's your gold, that's your gift, your blessings. As I said, I had people that spent time in prison, that lost it all, that were homeless, suicidal, survived terminal disease, betrayed, deceived, in every aspect. Horrible things. But then guess what? These are not to be hidden, to be kept ashamed. No, these are your gifts. Now let's build an impactful, purposeful, and very profitable business around those. Because again, people don't want a disconnected millionaire. They want someone that they can identify with, relate with, resonate with, and someone that is just a few steps ahead of them and that is accessible and reachable. And this is why I keep my classes capped at 5 to 7 students, because I want to be accessible to you guys. If I were to have 50 students, you're not going to get a hold of me. I would have to hire people. It's not the same one-on-one, personalized, hand-holding type of experience. So enough about that. Do you guys see the value of what I'm offering you guys here? So again, if you go on my website right now, it's 5,000. It's going to go to 6,000. My coach is literally threatening to kicking me out of the program because I'm not raising my prices. But I said, it's okay. He said, "Are you out of your mind? Not only you're not raising it, but now you're reducing it. You're giving him a scholarship. Do you hate money?" I said, "No, I love money. But what I also love tremendously is changing lives, helping people. And when you help people change lives, then guess what? The money is going to take care of itself." All right. Let me stop the sharing. Let me check with the chat. Absolutely. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Does that make sense for you guys?
Yes, thank you.
A lot of gratitude.
Well, welcome. Do you see the value in this for you to really build a system where you can really amplify your impact, helping the people that you really, not just people that you have currently in your life, but as I said earlier, the people that are cheering for you the most are your future clients. They're just clapping for you, cheering for you, waiting for you. Come on, Michael. Come on, Susan. Come on, Sharon. Come on, Lorna. Come on, Madlina. We're cheering for you to step up, to become the person you're meant to be. Time for you to stop playing small. Time for you to embrace your gifts and not be ashamed of your of decision you made or your past, because these are your greatest gifts. This is what we come here for. One of the main reasons we're here for is to share our gifts. First of all, embrace them loud and proud, and then share them even louder and prouder. Because your gifts are meant to be shared, not to be kept, to be stingy about them. This is something I truly, 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 deeply believe in, and I've seen it. So, ready to rock and roll? Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Susie.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Thank you.
Because I want to help sincerely. For me, it's not a money grab. I could charge
I see
10,000
that.
today and get one client. I'm happy, but I don't want that. I want to
I
help
see
people,
that.
transform lives. See, I'm
Thank
speaking
you.
from the heart. I'm getting passionate now.
Thank you.
I see that, and it touches my heart, Payman.
But don't mind,
Yeah.
brother. Talk to your wife. If you guys want to get on a call, the four of us, I'd be happy to do so. Even tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow night, which is morning for me, anytime after 8 Eastern,
Okay.
which is 8 in the morning
What-
for me.
What about my cat just jumped over the computer? Give me 1 second.
Sure. Let me stop the recording once and the live. Where's the 1 second? Where's my recording?
I think you
Live
stopped it
stream.
already.
No, the recording is here.